miracles don't happen.
The kick towards Look out! Lock's going to be that! Lockett's got it!
Or do they?
Metres from goal. If he kicks a point, the Swans are into the grand final. The siren is going. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. The scene is set. You couldn't get it any better than this.
I don't think anybody's heard the siren. No one has moved in the crowd. What a finish. Any score. Otherwise we play extra time. Lockett, the most important kick of his career. Any score will do. He kicks. They are into the grand final.
Who doesn't believe in miracles now? As these scenes were beamed around the nation, it was easy to forget from where these Swans had come. 13th in 1990, 12th in 91, last in 92, 93 and 94, 12th again last year. As Tony Lockett's groaning groin managed to send the Yellow Sherrin 55 metres through Sydney's night skies, a miracle of heavenly proportions had just been witnessed. It's easy to say that there have been concessions. It's easy to say that the competition has its inequities. But there is one simple fact. These Swans and this coach couldn't have done what they've done without ability, courage and an obvious conviction to the common cause. A miracle, maybe it is. Maybe there is a higher force which says that players like Lockett and Roos deserve premiership honours. But North Melbourne lies in wait, the enemy to that dream's realisation. There has been no hotter team through this final series. The Kangaroos, driven by the need to realise their own lofty ambitions, have been awesome. Perhaps it is going to take a side inspired by extraordinary intangibles to stop Dennis Pagan's men. In 4 days' time, we will know.
Well, what a 4-day lead-up it promises to be. Hello and thanks for joining us on Football Feedback. I'm Tim Lane. Well, he'd probably trade his medal for the chance to be part of Saturday's 100th AFL Grand Final. But last night, Michael Voss had his wonderful season recognised when he and James Hird tied for the Brownlow Medal. And Michael will be joining us tonight. We'll also have North's Chief Executive, Greg Miller, with us, having watched his work in securing that merger with Fitzroy, torpedoed at the last minute. How sweet champagne from the Premiership Cup would taste to him. Bobby Skilton, South Melbourne's greatest ever son, will be along to give us his thoughts on his club's chances this week, and naturally Rohan Connolly and Peter Dacos will be here. But as usual, it's my great pleasure to welcome four-time Premiership player, Premiership coach, Lee Matthews. Is the heart beating a little faster?
Oh, I think so. Grand final week's always very special. I suppose the racing people have the spring carnival, but us football people have the final week of September when the whole season comes to the climax.
You can still enjoy it and feel excited about it from your media chair?
Yeah, absolutely. I think whether you're a player or a coach or a spectator or doing some work on the media, it's exciting from whichever vantage point you view it from.
Rohan Connolly from the Sunday Age is with us every week on Football Feedback. He's here again. Rohan, were you pained by last Saturday night?
Get off my case.
That is Rohan, isn't it?
Just get off my case, you blokes. I'm still in mourning.
Just weren't Essendon unlucky to lose those two finals by a point?
Very.
Don't you think? How
sad,
unlucky
really.
can you be?
You might have a walk out here. Just watch yourself tonight. It was, I've got to say, very, very hard to take, and the wake's been going full steam, and there's still more drinking to be done yet. So I've lost all interest, frankly.
You're beautiful when you're angry.
Yeah, well, it gets a lot worse, Tim. You should have seen me on Sunday. It was really bad, a padded cell and everything. But we'll get over it by about February, I think.
And Peter Dacos, who is taking Rohan Connolly's glasses off, is with us. You're an old South Melbourne man, Dakes.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that all year and got on very early onto the bandwagon, but good to see. And I suppose for the diehards, South Melbourne are in the grand final.
So you're riding unashamedly on the bandwagon?
Yes.
South Melbourne supporter when he was a kid, and they played at the Lakeside Oval. A major talking point is the fact that an investigation of the incident which saw James Hird forced into the blood bin briefly with considerable blood coming from the side of his face is going to be carried out. We don't know as yet whether a charge is going to be laid. We do know that Optus Vision has some exclusive tape coverage of the incident which is going to be viewed as part of the investigative process. We will have to wait and see upon the outcome. And how important is it to the Swans' chances?
Gigantic, I would think. I mean, Dunkley is the player the Swans would be hoping could stop Wayne Carey. And there are enough troubles it is really. In 87, Hawthorn won the preliminary final, a kick after the siren. In 94, Geelong did, and of course this year Swans did. And the two previous times that happened, the teams have been badly beaten in the grand final. To win in those circumstances isn't it? I mean, you're in the grand final, that's great, but it's almost the worst possible way to make it, I think.
I must admit, as soon as Plugger kicked that point, apart from thumping the desk, the first thing I thought of was that Buckenara kick. And I just remember Hawthorn the next week were just flat as attack, weren't they? They were really never in it.
One of the problems is you keep looking back. I mean, it's even, so it's probably into Tuesday, Wednesday, and those Swans players will all be being asked about last week when you've got to have left it behind.
Incidentally, that videotape that I referred to, we're not able to show you because as there is an investigation underway, we are prevented by the AFL. The tape is under an embargo, which is part of the condition between television networks who hold rights and the AFL. We can show you an incident which involves Sean Wellman of Essendon and Craig O'Brien of the Swans, and this one produced a little discomfort, in fact more than a little, for Sean Wellman.
Yes, arms above the head and the body contact below. Yeah, he was slightly winded, I think. Got the free kick, left the field.
Yeah,
the doctor.
Benefit of a doubt on that one, I think. You know, it's not a lot there, really, I don't think.
It is a part of football, though, that can be looked at, really, that one. Even as a player, just after he kicks a ball and a player comes in and sort of knocks an unguarded rib area, I mean, that goes on a hell of a lot. I mean, just because a player doesn't fall doesn't mean he's not hurt.
Got to make him earn it, Dax.
Well, you've got to make him earn it, yeah, but, I mean, you look at some of the things that have come in melee and bits and pieces. I mean, that's certainly something that can be looked at, because an unprotected area such as the ribs or whatever, certainly, as you can see, Wellman straight off the ground may not look hard.
I think by the year 2000 we'll be able to cut out all contact. I think so. And really make it a clean, lovely, free-flowing game.
I think that's called basketball, isn't it?
Rohan, what's the news on the injury front? Michael O'Loughlin in Sydney, Corey McKernan at North Melbourne.
Well, O'Loughlin, we'll see here, just got a bit of a kick on the knee. They were a bit worried about it initially, but apparently he's OK now, trained OK tonight, and he's basically been declared a certainty to play. The really good news tonight for the Swans was Plugger got through the whole session, ran around a fair bit, did some lane work and some ball work, and apparently looked pretty comfortable, so absolutely no doubt about him now. Probably the biggest concern is Jason Mooney with that cork thigh. He was quite restricted at training tonight, but he too was expected to play. And just interestingly, Rodney Eade tonight said after training that they'll basically go in with an unchanged side. Only if Mooney doesn't come up, that'll be the only change. So he's laid the cards on the table pretty early, but you know, why not? They're a winning combination. You'd be loath to change it, really.
And for North, no doubt about McKernan?
I don't think so, no. I mean, they seem to be saying as early as Sunday, really, that he was probably OK, and no, I don't think there's too many concerns there.
That was it, we kept hearing the expression knee on knee, which is a bit of a new one, but it could hurt, couldn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it should happen more often, I suppose, when you think of it, but it just happened that their knees or legs came up at the same time and the two kneecaps clashed. I wonder how Matthew Clark got out of it.
Similar types, aren't they, really? Yeah. Just in their approach to the ball at the centre bounces.
I think the emotional pain he felt last night might have been a bit greater, actually.
Yes, we'll be talking Brownlow a little later in the program. That was a tragic sight for North Melbourne fans, but the news was good by the time the media got to Corey McKernan post-preliminary final.
Just pinched a bit of cartilage and hit a nerve at the same time, but if I needed to come back on the second half, I could have. Like, I was really strapped in a different way where I wasn't in any pain, and like, I was running around the boundary line with Matthew Armstrong, like I was saying I could go back on if I needed to, but because we had that buffer zone, like I was fine to just stay off the ground, so it's just going to give me a good preparation on it this week and I won't have any worries.
What did you think when it happened? Did you think the worst?
I suppose because I'd hit it right on a nerve as well, I was in a bit of pain, but once we got off the ground, it settled down a little bit. Like I was a lot better. Once I knew what it was, like I suppose my fears were alleviated a little bit, so it was good.
How are you feeling now that you've got over the preliminary final hoodoo and you're sort of in there now?
Oh yeah, it's a relief to get through, but I suppose we've got an even bigger task at hand now. Like we're in the grand final, so we're a chance. We're in it now, so hopefully we have a good preparation and not sort of get caught up in it. As long as we stay pretty much level-headed, I think we'll go pretty well.
What an eventful week in the life of Corey McKernan. Stuart Anderson, of course, missed on Saturday with the hamstring injury that he suffered on the first week of the finals. Rohan, the news looks promising there. In fact, better than that, I would think.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, just the comments we will hear him make. I mean, he's very confident and he's probably got every right to be. I mean, it was coming up to, what, 3 weeks ago now, you'd probably think that's long enough to get over a hammy. But I was just thinking, actually, I mean, probably only a few months ago we would have regarded Anderson as being more a fringe player in Northside, but it's interesting now that he's going to come in, basically, and it might be a Matthew Armstrong or someone of that calibre that drops out. So it really underlines the importance he has now to the North side, I think.
Well, he was actually re-signed midway through the year, so I think North certainly jumped on to get him re-signed and stitch him up. I think he's a terrific player, certainly in the Glen Archer mould, either end of the ground.
I think you'd be very nervous about playing him. They might play him, but 21 days from sort of injury to play again with a hamstring injury, you're never quite certain whether you're okay or not. The player really doesn't know, and I would think Dennis Pagan trying to make sure that he can get 21 players he's sure who are fit. Those hamstring injuries, they just, mentally, it's going to be tough for that decision.
And the other thing, Lee, too, training, you never tend to push over, and it tends to reoccur on a reflex sort of action, so it'd be interesting.
Well, it would have been a long 4 quarters for Stuart Anderson, even with North comfortably in control, as he had to sit it out and wait and hope. Well, Andrew Marr caught up with him after North had survived to play in the grand final.
It's a funny feeling. You're either, I'm feeling very excited, but then at the same time I've got to, settle down this week to, put in a good week of training and get picked. So it's, you can't let it get away at the moment.
There's no doubt that your hamstring, as far as you're concerned, will be right.
Yeah, no, that's right. I was never really planned to play this week, but we've sat down with the physios and whatnot, and I'll train this week and. Yeah, it'll be good.
What goes through your mind when you do a hamstring this close to the end of the season, when you've done all the hard work and you're almost there, and something like that comes along and might sort of take it away from you?
Oh, it's quite shattering, really. I was probably lucky. If you can say that, the best time I did my hamstring was like in the first final. At least it gave me enough time between then and the grand final to get right. So if you can say it was a good time to do one, it was. But yeah, it's very frustrating, especially after you've worked so hard all year, you've played all the games, and something that you dream about could be taken away from you. Yeah, it's not a real good feeling.
Yeah. Stuart Anderson after North Melbourne's win over Brisbane. Well, no Kevin Sheedy or John Northey involved in the grand final, so the chances that we'll only see 21 players for each team run onto the field pre-match?
Yeah, there might be. Well, Peter Berbakoff, he'll probably go down in the trivia question at one point, won't he? I mean, we're seeing the BS first, and Shannon Corcoran was their 22nd player who walked off the ground after the warm-up.
Do you think that would have thrown a few jitters into the North camp, seeing Shannon Corcoran run out in the ground?
I wonder if they noticed it even on the field, actually. But, yeah, I mean, if it's just to give them a little bit of a feel of a big match atmosphere, I suppose there's nothing wrong with that. But in all honesty, maybe the AFL has got to say, listen, only run 21 players out. It just gets a little bit over the top if all of a sudden 30 players start running onto the ground.
As a coach lead, does it throw you off? I mean, because
so.
those Berbakoff wouldn't. They use
Corcoran, Berbakoff, Lucas, another tall forward.
Say a ruckman type? Yeah. A ruckman type is out there,
well,
that's
possibly.
taller.
But it's more, I mean, you plan around the opposition's key players, not their sort of fringe players, one would think in all honesty. But as I said about Peter Berbakoff, there might be some trivia question about he's been on a finals field twice and actually hasn't played a game. So they might frame a question, he'll be a name they'll have to remember.
I think he's a trivia question in Sydney anyway, because that rugby league station that covered the game were calling him Berzikov or something, so I don't think they had a clue who he was.
Well, Rodney Eade was asked about this at his post-match media conference, and he didn't really treat Sheedy's tactic terribly seriously and didn't sound greatly impressed by its value.
It's pretty tricky now, isn't it? You really get sucked in by it now. They had Berbakoff. Who was the other guy? The trainer, was he?
Barnard.
No, that wasn't Barnard. It was nobody. I think it was Neville Nobody. Yeah. It was no one. It was a trainer or a bloody bloke out of the crowd. They got him to ask that. Yeah. He had the shaved head.
Yeah, it wasn't Barnard.
No, Barnard's got blondie sandy hair. He's got this bloke had black hair. The way he was running like a cripple. No, we'd heard during the week that Simons was going to play. When they ran out 23, certainly Berbakoff wasn't going to be in, and Neville Nobody was going to play. So we're a fair chance that we knew it was Simons.
Rocket in good form. It was a nice old put down of his rival coach.
Well, it mightn't have been a tactic. I mean, Kevin Sheedy himself eventually said it was only to give the players a little bit of experience in front of the crowd. Maybe we should just take that on face value and not try to read the trickiness into it.
Just quietly, Neville Nobody was Scott Lucas, by the way, who's probably one of the more talented training staff Essendon's had. So he actually is a bona fide player and he can play a bit. So I think he might have shaved the head just for the occasion too.
What is the rule? How many can you have out there?
Well, that is interesting. I mean, exactly what is the rule?
Well,
Can you
why
have
not
take
30
5
out?
out there then?
I don't see it. Well, Carlton ran out with an extra 2 on Grand Final Day 1982, David Clark, Frank Marcazzani. And Sheedy said consistently when he's done this, there's no rule against. So what's to stop him taking out the whole seconds team?
Great experience.
I'm sure his fixation with it was reactivated when Fremantle changed their team list in that match against Essendon on the MCG during last year. And I mean, it did seem that they were very close to being in breach of the rules.
Well, Sheedy did make the point on Saturday night that they had lodged the team sheet with Simons in, so, you know, in accordance with the rules. So, I mean, I think it is very believable. I don't think he would have thought Berbikov was going to really throw them into disarray.
Well, in fact, when he was asked about it post-match, he was quite straight-laced on the subject.
They all come up, they can all learn the experience, and the real experience in the end is you didn't get selected, and you learn by that, and you sit there and you take it all in, and hopefully it will make them want to be selected and work their backsides off for next year if it happens. So it's not ducks and drakes. It's a very, very serious learning process. But some people think it's ducks and drakes. I don't. It's a real learning experience to go out into the finals, atmosphere in Sydney. Don't forget, it is the first 2 times in Essendon's history they've gone away to play in finals. And we've done it in Brisbane and we've done it in Sydney as a learning experience for our young players who have just missed selection.
And Lee Matthews, you were on the ground before the match in Sydney.
I presented the John Coleman Medal to Tony Locke, a very quick presentation, I might say. But the atmosphere and the noise was incredible. I mean, the fireworks were going off. So just players experiencing that. I mean, Essendon certainly play in front of big crowds at the MCG, so the big ground occasion, isn't it really something different to them? But, you know, the thought of just getting the players on there, it's not such a bad thought from the experience point of view. So I think it's probably a good idea that the AFL knocks it on the head and makes sure each team can only take 21 players out.
Speaking of medal presentations, we'll be back after a break to talk about the Brownlow Medal, and we'll be speaking with one of the winners, Michael Voss.
As a Sports AFL subscriber, you're invited to the Quit and Optus Vision Super Clinic. As well as clinics, there'll be giveaways, competitions and autograph signings.
And I'll be there to teach you the banana kick.
And just for coming along, you'll get this cool show bag for free.
It's on 12 o'clock this Wednesday at Old Scotch Oval.
Don't miss this unique chance to meet and speak with your footy heroes.
And it'll give us a chance to thank you for your support.
Fighting a losing battle with the bulge? Always feeling tired and lethargic? At Sports Australia, we've got the answers. Kiana Flex Appeal, Crunch Fitness, Aerobics Oz Style, Gotta Sweat. Getting fit with Denise Austin. You're guaranteed to feel better, look better, be better, just by regularly taking part in one of these fitness shows. Weekdays on Sports Australia, Channel 12.
A game that's lasted longer than me. I'd like to see that.
Unbelievable.
terrific. Hart for the Bears. Finds some clear space.
Lynch worked his way in front, off hands. Brilliantly picked up by Hart with the right foot, another one. Lynch,
The Bears, Justin Levitt, hangs in the air.
Back towards the contest, 25 off directly in front, and falling to the ground.
Archer for the Roos, shows the better judgment.
Out, down towards full forward. Lynch surrounded. What a terrific mark by Archer.
Scholl caps off the team play of the day.
Direction of Scholl in the pocket. Crocker tries to get it back, does to Scholl, and he kicks another one. Again. Good get away.
Time for the Fridge to go for a stroll and a bounce in the park.
Roberts through the centre.
As a bounce, always dodgy in that centre square area from 75 metres out. Long kick. Carey watches it bounce. Through for a goal.
Time for Big Tony to strut his stuff. He takes them all on and the desired result.
It's still not over, so they've kept it alive, the Swans. Lockett, handball away, chance for Luff, and Luff's kicked the goal of the night so far. He puts the
This is one game that Derek Kickett needed no motivation.
Taken out by Kickett, and he's whacked. He's poleaxed behind play.
Kelly, a great snap.
Around his body, he's kicked the captain's goal.
Simons for the Bombers. Same pocket. Next quarter.
Gives it off to Simons, who'll try and bang one back. Michael Simons, I think, might have just about done it. No one has
Tony Lockett becomes the hero that sends Sydney fans into a finals frenzy.
Otherwise, we play extra time. Lockett, the most important kick of his career. Any score will do. He kicks far into the grand final. Sydney.
Been shown a few times, it's still pretty exciting. Well, to our first guest tonight, and he's one of the game's brightest lights. Last night his star status was underlined as he shared the 1996 Brownlow Medal with James Hird. Michael Voss, thanks for coming along. You didn't share it, you've actually got one of your own around your neck.
Yeah, lucky enough. I won't have to hand it over every 6 months.
A pretty amazing week for you. We were talking about McKernan, who was injured in the preliminary final and missed out on a Brownlow last night, but you missed the preliminary final and won yourself one.
Yeah, it's amazing how it turns around, but Corey's got a great opportunity to play in a grand final side, and I'm sure he'll cherish that opportunity.
How nerve-wracking was it last night?
I've never experienced anything like it before. It was unbelievable. I was very, very calm when I came to the Brownlow, and it was really I tried to play down it because, you know, favourite and the hype and everything like that. I played it down because I didn't want to get disappointed if I'd lost or didn't poll well, so I played it down a fair bit. But when I got to about round 12, I was like, hang on, I'm a bit of a chance here, and that's when I started to get a bit nervous, and players were catching. I knew they would catch, and people would go ahead, but it's just a matter of which games I polled in, and it was just an unbelievable feeling when your name's read out at the end there.
That Fremantle game I didn't see that game on television. Was that a 2-vote you got? Did you think you would?
Well, actually, I played particularly well on that game, right. So I thought, you know, maybe that I would. The only reason why I thought I might was because John sort of said, you know, that if I wasn't out there, that we wouldn't have won the game. It's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but you know, it sort of gives you a bit of an indication on how well you play.
Yeah. Michael, just on that voting, was there any games you were surprised you got votes in, and other games that you felt you maybe could have got a few more or something?
Well, there's a couple of games that I was surprised that I got 3 votes in, only because I thought there was probably players that played better than me. Not that I didn't play well, but I thought there was players that played better than me. However, the best game I thought from the season was round 17 against West Coast, and I didn't get a vote at all. So just that, I think in the end it probably really evened out for myself.
At what stage, as opposed to the count, at what stage of the year did you start thinking on a show here?
About, I don't know. It was about Monday night when it was announced. Right. That's when I thought it was a show.
I mean, your form's just been so consistently good right throughout the year. I mean, coming up in the final few rounds, you must have had an inkling that you were going to be a bit of a show.
Yeah, well, I sort of analysed the first half of the season. I really thought it had a lot to do with how I polled in the first half of the season. and as it showed, I come out of the gates pretty fast and kicked away a bit and stalled in the middle there and come home. So it was quite amazing. I felt I had in the last 7 games the best probably games I've had for the year, and surprisingly enough I didn't poll as well as what I did in the first half of the year, which I was a bit surprised about. That's why I thought I was a chance, because I polled so well in the start.
Is that a bit of a shock effect? Like, do you think maybe you crept up on the umpires a bit, and then once they started to get used to you, it became harder for you to earn their votes?
Yeah, well, I probably think, I mean, you only got to look at Wayne Carey. I mean, for him to earn 3 votes, he's got to kick 5 goals and have 24 possessions, but that's the standard that he's set for himself, and everyone expects that of him. I suppose as you get better, then everyone has higher expectations of you, and maybe that even comes down to the umpires also.
Michael, you've had the euphoria of the last 24 hours. Can I take you back to Saturday and Friday? The situation of when you pulled out at the last minute. Now, Friday, what had you done physically on Friday?
Well, really nothing. Friday night when we got down there, I had a fitness test really in our hotel up and down the hallway.
Which was just
to see how I could run and so forth, and I wasn't real confident. I told them the situation, that it wasn't feeling too well and so forth. I even had a couple of injections on Friday night to see how I would go. And the doctor assured me that he might even give me something a bit stronger to curb the pain. And
so at that point you didn't know whether you'd be okay?
No, I said to John, I said, look, if I have to make a decision now, I'd have to say no, you know, just because I thought it was probably a little unfair on the players. But on the day, he gave
nothing Saturday morning, for instance.
Nothing Saturday morning.
Physical thing you did was in the warm-up.
Yes, in the warm-up, and I sort of started it off, and in about 3 minutes into the warm-up, I just said no go.
Now, again, I don't want to labour the point. So that there was, what, 22 or 23 Bears players ready just in case?
Well, what was the plan was that I was actually going to run out on the ground and warm up and see how I'd go with all the adrenaline running through me and with the ankle warmed up and so forth. And I was going to run out there. However, I made the decision early because I really didn't think it was going to be right. And the reason why the 23 ran out there was because they weren't too sure at that stage who they were going to use.
So the positioning of the team was really very much up in the air, even to the very start of the game.
Yeah, it was. Gilbert McAdam was told that he was going to play, but Shannon was given the opportunity to run out there and experience it. Really, that's what the idea of Shannon was, to run out there. It was interesting to hear what Kevin Sheedy said.
And do you think your mind could have possibly been able to ready to play when you didn't really know whether you'd be available until the game virtually started?
Yeah, it was very hard because all during the week there was I was just concerned about playing, let alone concentrating on the value of the game. And it probably sidetracked me a little bit, but in the end I did end up running out there anyway, so it didn't have any prone effect.
How close, Michael? Could you have played on the Sunday?
I could have played on the Sunday, yeah. I reckon I would have played.
Michael, last night certainly provides some sort of consolation, not just for you, but no doubt for your teammates, who we did notice late in the evening seemed to be pretty happy about your success and were prepared to join in some pretty boisterous singing.
I think John's the best there, isn't he?
Who's holding who up?
I don't know.
Voss is the man that we always tell the States. He's the greatest player of all.
Roger Merritt's been terrific too, hasn't he? And
no, I can't speak highly enough of Roger. He's just a fantastic person, and
his influence around the place.
Oh, fantastic! I mean, Roger is a great leading example, and it just for the young kids to come up and say and speak to Roger Merritt and learn the skills off Roger, and he's got a lot to offer, Roger, and he's fortunately we're going to have him next year too, which is going to be a great bonus.
Is that confirmed?
Well, if an opportunity does come Roger's way as a coach, then I don't think the club will stand in his way. However, he won't be going anywhere else as an assistant coach, I wouldn't believe.
Is it starting to sink in now just how big this is going to make you in Queensland? I mean, you've lived up there, I guess, most of your life now. In the same way, Alan Border became a flag bearer for cricket. I mean, are you prepared for it mentally?
Well, I suppose when I get back there, I'll sort of find out what it's been like in the last
Key
week.
to the
I
city
suppose.
or something? Or?
Oh, jeez, I don't know about that. I don't go over that much. But I suppose when I get there, I'll find out, you know, what it's been like, and I suppose over the next 6 months or so forth, that I'll find out how they're going to respond to Queensland. Hopefully it's in a positive manner and really gets Australian rules football moving in Queensland. It was really helped us making the finals and winning those 2 finals also.
Michael, you couldn't be in nicer, more illustrious football company than James Hird, a great player to share the Brownlow Medal with, and we caught up with Kevin Sheedy, whose star James Hird, with Michael Voss, had won a Brownlow Medal in 1996.
But to see James Hird, who is a dual Brownlow medalist with young Voss, and one of the great stories is young Voss has sort of grown up there at All Voss, and his dad played at Richmond under-19s and that, and James Hird's grandfather was president of Essendon. I mean, it's probably historically a dual Brownlow medal win for 2 great families and terrific families that have loved footy for many, many decades. And you know, they're both great players, and I really honestly believe they're not that far away from possibly winning another one other time. I mean, if it's ever an inspiration